Hello everyone and welcome to Shelf Space. I'm your host Russ13 and today we are looking at the HGUC RX-78-2 Gundam Revive. Yep, we finally have a Grandpa Gundam to show off on this channel. Been a long time coming, I guess. But this is one of the kits that my wife got me for anniversary, and so I'm excited to show it off to y'all. But first, let's take a look at the packaging. So to start off, as you can see, it's the standard sort of HGUC box type. We got the yellow square, which apparently means it is connected to the 1 year war. So that's cool to know. We have the Grandpa Gundam doing a nice sort of jump slash attack thing. Very cool looking. HG Universal Sentry, the original Gundam logo. RX-78-2 Gundam EFSF prototype close combat mobile suit, and then that stuff again in Japanese. And Bandai Spirits 2015. I can't remember if this was done before or after the Bandai Spirits crossover. I think it was before, so this is probably a reissue. Then on this side, we have the RX-78-2 Gundam action, gimmick, weapons. All this is in Japanese. So yeah, I think this was before the crossover because there is not much English on this other than some titles, basically. We get some very cool painted photographs of the kit doing all sorts of cool things and showing off the extra weapons and articulation that this thing has. Then on this side, we have the HGUC logo again, right? Grandpa Gundam logo again. 191, and we got this sort of metallic gold bar thing. RX-78-2 Gundam, the same sort of... Actually, no, this is a different illustration than what's on the front. This one is him cutting downwards. This one is before he does the cut. So that's interesting to note. Then on this side, we have a blurb about the Gundam, and this is probably a blurb about the show or the 1 year war. Then can't see a yen price on this, so it is off-centered and makes me sad. And the stickers that we've seen on a lot of these kits that my wife got me for anniversary that have their own barcode on them. Then over here, same as the other side, no bluefin sticker and Gundam info. Alright, enough of this. Let's take a look at the actual Grandpa now. And here he is in all his grandpa-y goodness. And one of the things that strikes me the most about this is the color separation. There are very few stickers on this kit. We have some in the eyes, which they actually give you two different options on that. I'll get into that in a little bit. This yellow V-shaped thing on the crotch is a sticker, and then you have like the camera stickers on the head, and that's about it. The blue here is blue plastic. The yellow vents are yellow. The yellow little square things on the front and back are plastic. So they do a very good job of separating out the plastic colors on this, and the extra effort shows. It's very, very cool to look at. Let's go ahead, take a look at the head, and then we'll get started on articulation. So, something I should mention first, and sadly it is not coming across well on the camera, is one of the options you were given for the eyes is to put a set of silver stickers in the back and just sort of paint the black outlines on the clear yellow piece that's provided for the eyes. And I did that, and in person, it looks pretty darn good. I'm quite impressed with how it came out. On camera, it just looks like there's a black void there, and you gotta trust me, it looks a lot better in person. Please believe me. Anyway, details on the head are basically all the sculpt details that you would come to expect. Vents on the side, Vulcans up there, V-fin, red plastic for the little crown jewel thing, red chin, red little nose strap thing. It's all there. Articulation is on your standard double ball joint thing. And you can get full rotation, can look up, pretty darn good, can look down, not too bad. Shoulders are your standard HG polycap butterfly thing, but they are oriented the other direction to give you very big shrug. Not entirely certain why they did it like that, but they did. And you got a ball joint that goes into the polycap there, and you got a pretty decent range of movement. And inside the shoulder pad, you can rotate up all the way like this. And the arm itself has a double jointed elbow, which gives you basically full bend there. Oh, and there is a bicep swivel. The hands are your standard sort of ball socket polycap joint thing. Actually, no, sorry, it's not a polycap in there. That's plastic, which allows for swapping out hands. We'll get into that in a little bit. In the torso, you have a series of sort of ball joints that allow for some nice movement forward and a little bit back. And then you can rotate things all the way around if you so wish. No extra articulation on the backpack or anything like that. The jet nozzles are stationary. So for the legs, you can kick forward if you move this. So get pretty decent chorus girl. And then you can bend it like that with a double jointed knee. Pretty nice. It should be noted that on the elbow and on the knee, this white part is separate from the rest of the leg, and that's kind of an interesting look. Then you have a series of hinges and ball socket joints for your ankle articulation, which gives you pretty decent movement. And this part on the ankle armor can rotate. Let's see. That came apart. You don't get a whole lot of movement from the side skirt armor because of the torso. You can still get pretty decent splits though. Don't know why this one isn't bending all the way. That's gonna be problematic for me, isn't it? There we go. Butt skirt is stationary. I suppose it should be mentioned there should be a panel that goes over this. This is the port for storing the bazooka. We'll get into that shortly, promise you. And I popped it out, and I think I accidentally threw it away because it's a tiny little rectangle piece, and I wasn't really planning on keeping it anyway because I'm just going to use the storage thing on this thing, so it's something to be aware of. Plus, it doesn't look absolutely horrible without it there, so yeah. So articulation-wise, this thing is phenomenal. And, I mean, it's kind of supposed to be phenomenal. That's its whole reason to exist, is to basically get us a new HG Gundam kit that has more modern articulation. Of course, now this thing is old news because there's several new Grandpa kits in the same scale that do all this and more, and eventually I need to get them. I'd love to get my hands on the the G40 version, just because I think that design looks cool. But yeah, so articulation on this thing, amazing. It's supposed to be amazing. And yeah, let's go ahead and start taking a look at accessories. So to start off, we got Shield-chan. Those of you who watch the Mobile Suit Breakdown podcast will get that joke. And pretty basic shield. You got a handle here that you can use if you want, and you got a peg that goes into the side of the arm. So you can put it right there, and it stays nice and secure. I appreciate that. You can also take this and plug it into the backpack for that as well. I don't think that looks quite as good, but I know there's some people who really dig that look. All right. Next up, we have his... Come on, Grandpa. Stay up. We have the beam rifle, and I have the shooting hand for him already connected on here. It's your basic backplate, front rest of the hand situation. Though the backplate on this one has the trigger finger connected to it. You can tilt the handle and the scope side to side to suit your whims. And to get that on here, we're just going to take that hand off and plug it in there, and there we go. Looking pretty darn cool. And next up we have the bazooka with its little connector bit and the other holding hand for this side. We do have a holding hand for the other side as well. And this one we can just take that off, pop it like that, and then just pose accordingly, hopefully having things in focus. Now you can see I have the little bracket holding rack thing on there. It doesn't actually look horrible with it on there, to be honest. But if you want, you can just plug it in back there. Maybe not have the fist on there, but there you go. I personally prefer the beam rifle. I think that's a little bit more iconic than his bazooka. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool looking weapon, but I like the beam rifle more. You also have standard SB-13 beam sabers. And you just can pull these out and put them in a holding hand. Getting these to stay on was kind of tricky, so I'm not going to pull them out. They don't have a what you would think of for a standard connection plug in there. I mean, it still holds secure, but it's kind of weird, and it took a little work to get them secure, and I don't want to undo all that. So here we are. Okay. Before we get to my final thoughts, let's go ahead and do some quick comparisons. So here he is next to the HG Age 1 Normal, my kind of go-to HG kit. One of the things that really stands out about this guy is, while this guy looks white, the grandpa looks white, he's actually kind of an off-white with maybe a little bit of a touch of green or yellow in it, which I guess is supposed to reflect the animation colors because they weren't pure white on there. I don't know. Don't know if I care for that necessarily, but it is what it is. It's very interesting seeing these two next to each other, though. Next up, the closest thing that I've had to a Grandpa Gundam on this channel before, and it is the GBN Base Gundam. Focus. And this guy stands a lot taller than the grandpa, as you can see. Though it looks like mainly it's just that the torso is a little bit longer. The legs and from the height, basically height from the feet to the pelvis seems to be about the same. It's just everything else is a little bit taller. And another one that I thought would be somewhat relevant. Let's move these down. Is here he is next to the Narrative NT Gundam. So it's kind of, I did not intend for this, but we got kind of a height thing going on there. Not too surprising that this guy's bigger, because this is from the time frame where the suits were getting bigger and bigger before they started getting smaller and smaller. But yeah, kind of interesting seeing all these sort of permutations on the grandpa formula all together in one shot. But yeah, this is a good kit. I can't say what it's like in comparison to other real grandpa kits because this is the only one I have so far. But I greatly enjoyed building this thing, and I think it looks phenomenal. So if you're able to get one of these and you're in the market for it, I'd say go for it. Don't know if I'd recommend paying over standard retail for it because it is just an HG kit, a good one, but it's still an HG kit. But yeah, it is a fun kit, and I don't think you could necessarily go wrong with it. All right then. Well, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. Check the description below for links to my storefront where you can get official shelf space t-shirts and more. And yeah, thank you again, and I'll see you the next time you invade my shelf space.